Hi everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I'm really excited about the pour I'm about to do. I'm going to do another pour like this, a flip cup pour with sea, sky and the White Cliffs of Dover. So I was brought up in Dover, that's my hometown, and the White Cliffs are absolutely beautiful. If you ever visit Dover, go to the castle, absolutely beautiful. There's not going to be a castle in my painting, in fact maybe for a future video, but I'm going to do flip cups for the sky, for the sea and for the White Cliffs. So really excited to sort of represent my hometown. So let's get started. These are the colours I'm using. I've got different shades of blue. This blue is cerulean blue, but this is the normal blue, but I've added some white and I've added some more white. So it's a really pale blue. I've got some white here and I've got some manganese blue by Amsterdam. For the cliffs, I want the majority to be white, but I'm just going to add a little bit of silver and I've got a hint of pearl black and I'm going to use that, but very, very cautiously. It's going to be mostly white. And then the sea is going to be quite turquoisey. So I've got the blue green by Amsterdam. I've got the two Pebeo iridescent colours, the blue green and then the green blue. I'm going to layer up tiny little paper cups. I'm going to have 8 in total, so I'm going to layer up 4 for the sky. So the sky is going to be the largest section. I want dark at the top, I want light at the bottom. So I think 1 cup is going to be just these 2 dark colours. 1 cup will be definitely just the 2 light colours. And then the middle will be a bit in between, a bit of a collection of all of the colours. So I'm just going to layer these up. Now I'd quite like the colours to mix a bit. So instead of pouring this just down the side of the cup, what I'm doing actually is pouring it right in the centre and from a bit higher. I'm going to go for 1 little drop of that pale, because by doing that the colours actually start mixing in the cup, and I want that to happen this time. I want it to blend more, because I've done some recently and they've ended up just being total panels of the colours. I don't want that. I want it to blend a lot more. So that's the darkest one. Let's now go for the lighter. Now this is going to be light. Actually, I'm going to go for this next one as well. It's going to be light, but I don't want it to be so light that there's not enough contrast with the cliffs. Incidentally, I haven't told you how I've mixed them. I've mixed them as I normally do, with PVA glue and water pouring medium, 2 to 1. So 2 parts PVA pouring medium, 1 part paint. I would say I've thinned them slightly though from that, because I want them to be really runny, and the runnier they are, the more I think transparent they'll be, the more they'll blend and they'll mix. Right, so I've got to think about this. So cliffs. So I'm going to do these 2 both the same. The majority white. And then last but not least, my sea colours. And again, I think I'm going to do these 2 similar. I think I might try and put more of the darker turquoise in one of them and less in the others. So lots of little tiny flip cups. So I'm all ready. So I've got my darkest blue coming to my lightest blue, my 2 for the cliffs, and then my 2 for the water. So I'll start at the top, which is what I always seem to do. I don't know why I start. Yeah, I do, because it's easier to come then towards me. So I'm just going to flip them over. In fact, I think I will find it easier to have them not on the canvas. Now, because these are quite runny, it's going to go everywhere. So when I did this last time with this runnier mixture, I did spill it. I poured it all over the side of the canvas. So I'm going to have to try and do this super quick. If it does go everywhere, it doesn't really matter. That's quite good. Quite happy with that. Right, and then I'm just going to drag them over. Wow, what reaction is going on there? I've got loads of cells. Why have I got loads of cells popping up? Wow, that is so pretty. I've used the Montmartre white, which often is really reactive and gives lots of really pretty effects. Right, now do I want to add any extra little lines? I've got a little bit of paint in here, so I think I might just a little ribbon pour over the top before I really start tilting this out. And then any extra paint, I'm just going to put in these gaps, and that will just help it to flow. This will be tilted off. I think I'm not going to do my ribbon pour on the sky this time. I often do, but I don't think I'm going to this time because I quite like the effects I'm getting on the sky section. Right, and first of all, we're going to tilt it that way just to get the edge covered. I'm just wetting the canvas because that will just help the paint to flow better, especially on the corners where it's difficult for the paint to get to. Right, now I'm going to turn it round because I'll find it easier to tilt it that way. I'm so happy. I love it. I've got a lot of work to do when it's dry because these lines you can see are clearly bowed, but it works by tilting the paint back the other way. It kind of narrowed that and it made it a little bit more uniform. Obviously it doesn't have to be uniform, but it was big one end and small the other end. It just didn't look right. So at least now I've got sort of more parallel lines and I can use that to embellish it. Look at this amazing sea. I'm so happy with this. You've got the depth, you've got the darkness, but the colours are all blending nicely. I just torched it off camera and I've got lots of little tiny speckles, which I just think actually works really well for a water effect. It's going to be really iridescent when it's dry because obviously 2 out of 3 colours are metallic. And I'm just so glad I didn't put any silver in. I had thought about adding silver to this. It would have been a total mistake. So my cliffs are a bit bare at the moment. I don't think it really made much difference adding the black and the silver. There's a little bit of texture there, but I'm going to be painting over that. So I'm not sure it was really even worth adding those colours, but never mind. And then look at this sky. I could not be happier with this wispiness of this sky. As I said before, I just had panels of different blues. There were no panels here at all. The colours have blended beautifully, and I think it's because the mixture was thin. You've got some incredible little cells and different shapes, just where the paints have just interacted together and then been stretched. So really happy with all three bands so far. I'm really excited for this to dry, and then I can get my paintbrushes out. So I'm back. I thought I'd finished this painting. I spent a long time trying to get the cliffs right. Just not happy with them. I messaged another fluid artist, Chris Schneider. I've done a collaboration with Chris, and she does amazing landscapes and seascapes. So I showed her a picture and I've asked her for some advice, and she suggested that I shaded more in the cliffs, which I've done. I'm still just not quite happy. As a massive coincidence, Chris has also done a piece of artwork based on the White Cliffs of Dover. So I watched her video and I was actually really inspired with the way she created the cliffs, because she created them using a swipe. I'll link her our YouTube channel in the description of this video, and also her painting of the White Cliffs, because it's fascinating. It's totally different to this. It's a real interpretation. It's totally abstract, but I really like the way she did it. So she basically swiped within the cliffs. So I'm going to do that the same. I've just taped off with frog tape the bits that I want to keep, so the sky and the sea, and then I'm going to pour over my cliffs. I'm going to drizzle paints, mostly white, but also a bit of black and a bit of silver. They've all got some oil in the paints, and then I'm going to swipe upwards to create some lines which will hopefully look a little bit more like the cliffs. It will look more abstract, it will be less detailed, but it will have more details in that it's going to have some cells, and I just hope that it will just give me I'm more satisfied with the end result. So I've just used a heat gun there just to heat up the frog tape, so it just makes it stick better to the painting. So the idea is that when I then pull it up, I'm hoping it will have sealed and none of the paint I'm about to add on will go underneath. If it goes underneath, it's ruined. So I really hope I've done that enough. So I've mixed this 2 to 1, 2 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint. Pouring medium again is the same. It's the PVA glue and water. So I am just drizzling it on. So I've done a few swipes which I've called stained glass swipes, which means I'm just drizzling it on. So there'll be lots of little tiny drizzles, little pockets of colour. Well, in this case, the grey and the black in a minute. Right, I think that's plenty of paint, but there's clearly lots of gaps. So I'm now just going to dab all the gaps so that all of this bit of canvas is covered. And obviously the colours are mixing now, but that's totally fine because I'm about to swipe through it, which will obviously mix a lot more. I'm now just going to swipe upwards. I've got lots of little pieces of kitchen roll here. And each little piece of kitchen roll, I'm just going to spray with a little bit of water. So it just makes it a bit heavier. I touch it in and stretch it upwards. Right, that has worked. I'm worried it's too dark though for the cliffs. I need enough white. I'm worried my white cliffs of Dover aren't going to be white. Right, I'm now going to torch it, and I should get lots of little cells coming up. In theory, I'm happy with this, but it's too dark. They're the white cliffs and not the black cliffs. So I like the effect, but it's just too dark. So I'm going to just drizzle more of the white and repeat it and just go again. It's now totally dry, totally finished. I'm not doing anything else. I love it. I'm so happy with the result. Lots to show you. So first of all, the sky, I think it's just works so well. You've got enough variation, but it's not too much. It's not too stark. It's just a beautiful blend of cells, of lots of just little tiny details. And then it gets paler and paler. And then it's really quite wispy. Then the cliffs, really enjoy painting the cliffs, the top of the cliffs. So it looks a bit yellowy, a bit straw-like in the distance. And then I've tried to make it a bit darker in the foreground. My cliffs, love them, really happy with them. There's a lot of detail in them, but actually when you step back, you don't really see it. You just see the black and the white. So I think it looks more like some shadows. Now, what's really interesting is when I pulled the tape off, it's left a ridge here because this paint was a lot thicker than this paint and more built up. It's left a ridge. So what I've done, I don't know if you can see this, is I've just filled it in. I've painted some more dark green over the top, and I think it gives it some more depth to it. So it wasn't really intentional, but you can see, or I think you can probably see, how the cliffs actually look like they're further forward than the top, which obviously is the case. So I think that's worked really well. You don't really have a ridge here in the same way, and I think that's because I swiped upwards, so the ridge is here. That's quite a thick lip, whereas here I can feel it, but it's relatively smooth. So I just added another line of paint just to blend it, and then just to show you the water, I added a few little white streaks there to make it look like some little ripples. but I love these three colours together. All forms of turquoise, but you've just got so much depth in there. And then if I show you in the light, it really does come alive, though, because 2 out of 3 of those turquoise colours are iridescent. It just looks so pretty. You've got a little bit of shimmer in the cliffs, but not much from the silver. And the rest, it's obviously shiny from the pouring medium, but there's no iridescence. So you've just really got the iridescence in the sea, which works brilliantly because it looks more like the sea. It looks more sparkly. And then if I just show you the edge, so you can see it just wraps around the edge. So I absolutely love it. So happy with the end result. It took a while, but I know if I'm not happy with something, it just doesn't sit right. I keep looking at it, I keep going back to it. So I am so happy I took Chris's advice and swiped. Thank you so much for watching. Do check out Chris's video. As I said, the link will be in the description, her interpretation of the White Cliffs. Please hit the thumbs up button if you like it. Great, take care everyone. Bye.